Hi Whovians, Harry here, and with Doctor Who's 60th anniversary fast approaching, I thought now would be a good time to go over the most recent big anniversary of Doctor Who we had, which was, of course, the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who. Now, of course, we had, in the 50th year of Doctor Who, we had Series 7B, we had a lot of little mini episodes, and we also had lots of news on Doctor Who's 50th anniversary, and of course we had the big main event on Doctor Who's 50th anniversary. We had the 50th anniversary episode, The Day of the Doctor. However, the 50th anniversary, The Day of the Doctor, was almost very different, and this is what this episode is going to go over. But before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe, also leave a like and comment down below, and let's get into the episode. So, Doctor Who's 50th anniversary is, and probably will be, one of Doctor Who's biggest anniversaries ever, until probably the 100th anniversary if Doctor Who makes it there, and not to mention, without an unearthly child, nothing would have happened, after that, because if an unearthly child had, failed, Doctor Who would not be making it to let alone not even the 60th, it wouldn't have made it to the 50th, and maybe not even have made it to the 10th. And of course, the 10th anniversary for Doctor Who paved the way for this episode, as the Three Doctors, Doctor Who's 10th anniversary episode, was the first multi-Doctor Who story, and of course, with the same amount of main Doctors in the Three Doctors as in this episode, that episode, of course, paved the way for The Day of the Doctor. So, as I was saying, with the 50th anniversary being one of the biggest Doctor Who anniversaries ever, it really had to work. It had to be amazing, which it was. However, it was almost very different. And it isn't just me thinking that the 50th anniversary was a big anniversary. Stephen Moffat, the showrunner at the time, stated that the 50th was a massive anniversary, and he knew exactly what was going to happen in the 50th anniversary as early as late 2011. And we know this because in an interview when he was making the Adventures of Tintin, that movie, they asked him about the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who, or Doctor Who in general, and he said that he knew what was going to happen in the 50th anniversary.
I've been dragged out very quickly. Have you got a feeling about the 50th anniversary for Doctor Who? I don't know whether you're all ready
Boys,
to roll.
We're revving up for it. Well, we know what we want to do, and I'm not telling you what it is.
And that was true. And he actually began writing a script in the following year, 2012. However, things suddenly started to go wrong, as one of the big things Moffat wanted was to go over the Time War in the 50th anniversary. And it had been kind of insinuated by Russell T Davies that the Ninth Doctor was the Doctor that ended the Time War, was the Doctor that fought in the Time War. So Moffat, wanting to go over the Time War, of course wanted the Ninth Doctor to be in Day of the Doctor. And Christopher Eccleston, of course, had a bad relationship with the BBC and Doctor Who. However, he actually did set up a meeting with Moffat, and they actually met together to discuss The Day of the Doctor. Unfortunately, though, he declined due to feeling like the script didn't do justice to the Ninth Doctor, and of course he was still upset with how poorly the BBC treated him. So this created a dilemma for Stephen Moffat. What was he going to do without one of the main leads in the 50th anniversary? However, Christopher Eccleston declining his part as the Ninth Doctor in Day of the Doctor might not have been that bad, because Moffat was actually having doubts about including the Ninth Doctor in Day of the Doctor, as he didn't feel like the Ninth Doctor was the Doctor to end the Time War, because there is a quote of him saying, "Yes, but do you know, I was always nervous of that one, because it doesn't fit with Rose at all. He is a brand new Doctor in Rose. He's absolutely, definitely new. It couldn't have been Nine who pushed the button in the Time War, because that's a new man. Very explicitly, in that episode. And also, Moffat was thinking, well, maybe we could do a Doctor from the past, the 8th Doctor. However, in that quote, he also said, I had trouble, I have to be honest, imagining it to be Paul McGann's Doctor. So, what was Moffat going to do then? He really wanted to, explain the Time War, go into the Time War in Day of the Doctor, but with Christopher Eccleston declining to be the 9th Doctor, and Moffat not wanting it to be more, Paul McGann, which I think is really unfair. Paul McGann would have been great as like a war-torn, battered Doctor. I mean, there is Big Finish audio of him fighting in the first few days of the Time War. So, I mean, I would have loved Paul McGann to be the Doctor that fought in the Time War and him having to bounce off 10 and 11. But Moffat didn't think Paul McGann's Doctor or the 9th Doctor could be the one that fought in the Time War. But actually, Moffat being unable to get the 9th Doctor for Day of the Doctor was the least of his worries, because there was something even worse that was about to happen. And that is because, for the Day of the Doctor, the 50th anniversary, the only person on contract to do that episode was Jenna Coleman as Clara. I mean, I guess she was the only one on contract because the whole cast was kind of, the only one that was going to appear in every episode was the companion, Clara, and the Doctor, but Matt Smith had already filmed his regeneration episode, The Time of the Doctor. So Moffat didn't even know if he could get one Doctor, and I don't think I am the only one. I think everyone is going to agree with me that Clara cannot lead a Doctor Who anniversary. However, Jenna Coleman was the only person on contract for the Day of the Doctor. So Moffat, not knowing if he could even get one Doctor, devised a plotline featuring Jenna Coleman's Clara, basically finding multiple Doctors throughout time and space, played by various famous people. A bit like how she was coming across every Doctor when she stepped into the Doctor's time stream in Name of the Doctor, which would have been pretty bad as it's a rehash of the previous episode, The Name of the Doctor, and also, I mean, various famous people. Yeah, sure, that's kind of amazing for a sketch or a spoof of Doctor Who, but not really for an anniversary special, as there would be no actual people that have ever played the Doctor, so it wouldn't really make too much sense. However, Moffat, knowing that there had to be a plot line for why the Doctor was played by various famous people, just suddenly happening, needed a plot line, Moffat kind of created this had happened because when the Doctor stepped into his time stream at the end of The Name of the Doctor, he had been wiped from reality, and Clara, by seeing these famous people Doctors, had to sort of remember him back into reality, like Amy Pond had to do at the end of The Big Bang. So, that is the 50th anniversary that we very nearly had. No previous Doctors. The only person we have seen before is Jenna Coleman's Clara, just going through time and space, finding various famous people being the Doctor. So, that is the 50th anniversary that we very nearly had. We wouldn't have had any Doctors. The only previous person that we had seen before would have been Clara, just finding famous people that say that they're the Doctor. Not really a 50th anniversary special. But fortunately, the Doctors that Moffat wanted of Matt Smith and David Tennant signed on for Day of the Doctor, and even John Hurt signed on to be the War Doctor in the Day of the Doctor, which was Moffat's first choice for the War Doctor, after realising that Christopher Eccleston wasn't going to return as the 9th Doctor. Moffat even managed to get Billie Piper back, but playing a different character in Day of the Doctor, playing the Moment, and Billie Piper was actually a later addition to the episode than the 10th and 11th Doctor. And also, her character was an even later addition because Moffat and Piper were thinking about bringing back Rose. However, Moffat thought the Moment was a better choice, which I have to agree with because, with her being banished to, Bad Wolf Bay in an alternate universe, I think it was a better choice to bring Billie back as the Moment, and she did a phenomenal job. That character is just amazing. And as I said, Moffat was unsure if he was going to get, even one Doctor in the Day of the Doctor. But, as anyone who has watched the Day of the Doctor will know, we got all the Doctors in this episode through archive footage, and we even got the next Doctor, Peter Capaldi, as the 12th Doctor, making his first appearance in this episode with his attack eyebrows, his probably biggest defining trait, how they always say about a Doctor. But that was just amazing to have all past Doctors as well as the next future incarnation. Is just amazing. And of course, Peter Capaldi, that was part of the Time of the Doctor filming. So he was recording this in Matt Smith's costume that, of course, when they ended the Time of the Doctor episode, of course. Peter Capaldi made an amazing first entrance, and that was his first appearance as the Doctor, and he just did amazing. Even though it's only his attack eyebrows, I still think that he did an amazing job, just like everyone in this episode. And as I said, this episode was amazing, and it so nearly didn't happen. And Moffat has stated the Day of the Doctor is what he wanted to do for the 50th anniversary, almost exactly from the beginning. So it's great that basically everything worked out. Of course, he couldn't get the 9th Doctor, and he had to kind of create a new Doctor which messed with the numbering, but Russell T Davies had already messed with the Doctor numbering back in the Stolen Earth Journey's End when Ten regenerated into himself. So the numbering didn't even make sense back in 2013, even without the Timeless Child, putting that aside. So, I think this episode was amazing. 10 and 11 are on top form as their respective Doctors. John Hurt puts in an amazing effort as a war-torn Doctor. I don't really see him as a warrior, but I think he is great as a kind of more morally ambiguous Doctor. Maybe he's not as bad as 6, 7, or 12, though, in some of the things that they have done. But I still think he did an amazing job. Billie Piper as the Moment is a casting I never knew I needed. And of course, every other member, Clara, Kate Stewart, also the Time Lords on Gallifrey, they all put in an amazing performance as well. And I just think this episode was amazing. And I will have videos going down my review of the Day of the Doctor and also my breakdown of the Day of the Doctor. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss those videos. And also, let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of the Day of the Doctor? Are you happy with the episode we got? Or would you have liked this kind of different Day of the Doctor where it was just Clara coming into contact with famous people playing the Doctor? Let me know which you would have liked down in the comments below. And also, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like. Also subscribe and share it out, and I will see you in the next one.